What's happening, guys? It's your boy TC back with another video. So the Unai Emery train is up and running, and we basically beat West Ham yesterday, and it was a 3-1 win in the end, but it wasn't a convincing display. So let's talk about the starting 11 to begin with. Of course, we had Petr Cech in goal. At right back, we had Hector Bellerin. In the middle of defence, as anticipated, it was Mustafi and Socrates. At left back, we had Nacho Monreal. And in the middle of the park, we had Granit Xhaka as well as Guendouzi. Up top, we had Ramsey. We also did see Iwobi starting yet again. So that was the second game in a row. We also did see Mkhitaryan starting yet again, and Aubameyang. So let's talk about the goals that were scored in yesterday's game. So of course, West Ham did go 1-0 up, and at that point, I was thinking the worst. I was anticipating the worst, really, purely because in the first half, the defence was absolutely comical. Throughout the whole game, really, the defence wasn't that great. And if you see, or if you saw the goal that West Ham scored, it's a goal that we could have certainly avoided. There was roughly about 4 players behind the ball at that point, and Anderson and Arnautovic passed the ball between themselves twice or 3 times, really, before Arnautovic took a shot, and he ended up going into the back of the net. And the defense was absolutely atrocious. So of course, we didn't fall behind for very, very long. I think it was about 4 or 5 minutes later, we ended up getting the equaliser, and this was through the most unlikely source in the form of Nacho Monreal, who ended up finding himself in a little bit of space, and he tucked the ball into the back of the net. And this was off the back of a Hector Bellerin cross. So Hector Bellerin, really, yesterday, I do believe he had a good game, but his good game really was in 2 halves. And by this, I basically mean he was absolutely fantastic going forward. And going backwards in terms of the defensive side of the game, there was still a few question marks that needed to be answered. But going forward, he was absolutely magnificent in my opinion. He was involved in 2 goals throughout the whole game, so he did have a good game going forward. So we ended up going into the half-time period with a 1-1 draw. And we were quite lucky, really, purely because West Ham's talisman, and that was Arnautovic, he ended up picking up an injury. And at that point, the game kind of changed and it swung in our favour. We also saw a couple of substitutions taking place. We saw Torreira come in. We also saw Lacazette coming in, and that certainly did change the game. With our second goal, of course, some may consider it lucky, but of course, it ended up going into the back of the net, and that was through Lacazette. There was sort of a bit of ping pong between the Arsenal players in the West Ham box, headed back in by Nacho Monreal as well as Ramsey. Lacazette found himself with the ball, and he sort of tried to square it into the middle of the box. Came off one of the West Ham's defenders, I think it was Diop in the end, and it found itself into the back of the net. And at that point, we found ourselves 2-1. But of course, the game was not finished. West Ham kept on pressing, kept on attacking. And in my opinion, really, at that point, we should have really buried the game. Of course, we were sniffing a little bit of blood. We wanted to put the jugular on West Ham and completely shut them out. But we ended up getting a 3rd goal quite late on, courtesy of Danny Welbeck. And again, yet another cross from Hector Bellerin. Danny Welbeck found himself in Akers' space, and he ended up tucking in the goal. So 2 talking points from yesterday's game. One being the missing of Mesut Özil. Did the team perform any better without Mesut Özil? That's a big question that needs to be asked. Of course, we have one, and we all know that Mesut Özil is a luxury player. But when he does turn up and when he does perform, he does provide the goods. Is he justifying his place within the team? Of course, we know he was out due to illness, but it seemed as if after those couple of substitutions that I'd mentioned that happened earlier on, pretty much at the halftime mark, the team seemed to have a greater balance, and Torreira and Xhaka looked much better together. But does the team perform better without Mesut Özil? The reason we're being given that he's missed the game was due to illness, but we'll certainly see how this one progresses. Some reports are suggesting that he actually fell out with Unai Emery at this early stage of the season. I'm not too sure how true that is, but we will be following up that topic with another video to address those concerns, all those reports that are actually surfacing. But overall, the Unai Emery train is up and running. We ended up picking up the 3 vital points that we needed. And of course, we move on to Cardiff, which is the next game. And as I said in the last match preview, I was expecting to pick up 3 points in this game. I'm expecting to pick up 3 points in the next game against Cardiff. Of course, it's not going to be any easy games along the way. After that, we will have Newcastle. So I do believe we can pick up 9 points from the next 2 games. Well, 3 games really, including the West Ham game. But as usual, guys, please do let me know what you think in the comments below. If you're watching this video and you're not subscribed to the channel, please do make sure that you do hit that subscribe button. So once again, guys, it's your boy TC from I'm Gonna Talk TV, and I'm out.